right, you're all set, Chris.
Okay, Kenny, you want to lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's do our minutes at the end. And we will start off with Central Avenue, 1892.
Chris,
Do we
may
have
I
the
take roll
applicant?
call?
Yes, please.
All right. Chairman Dennis?
Here.
I have to mute all of you, I'm sorry. John Martin?
Here.
Ann Kraus is not present. Pete Chudinski?
Yo.
Kenny Hart?
Present.
Dan Judge?
Present.
Jim Splonskowski?
Here.
Mark Keegan?
Here.
Attorney Caponera?
Present.
Engineer LaBerge?
Present.
And Code Enforcement Officer Mike Cerrone.
Here.
Thank you.
Tom Tobin, did you mention him? Or didn't I hear it?
Sorry, timer not on the roll call.
Yeah.
Trustee Tobin is present. Just have to get them out of the waiting room, I'm sorry.
Getting good at this. That's nice.
No, wrong one.
You opening the applicant?
I asked them to change their name, and so. Does anyone remember what Mr. Dumas's was?
There he is.
There he is. I'm sorry.
Hello.
Hello. We are all set for your presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you, folks. Charles Dumas, Lemery Chrysler. I represent 1892 Central Avenue LLC 2. I should note that in the application, there is a correction that should be made in the second line where it says applicant's name. It says 1892 Central Avenue LLC. There should be a Roman numeral 2 after that. Okay. The title to the property transferred on April 13. This is the property that's located just west of the Colony Diner, west and south of the Colony Diner. It's got 14 tenant spaces anchored by Price Chopper, Key Bank, Dollar General, and Big Lots. There's currently 11 spaces that are occupied. There are a few vacancies, which are being actively marketed. The ownership is kind of interesting. It's 3 tenants in common, all LLCs, 1892 Central Avenue, 1892 Central Avenue LLC 2, and 1892 Central Avenue LLC 3. And that's, they're all tenants in common. That's a consequence of a 1031 exchange. It was a rather complicated transaction. The managing partner is 1892 Central Avenue LLC 2, and that is managed by Faraz Khan. Faraz is a client of the firm of longstanding. He's an experienced real estate developer and manager of both residential and commercial property in the Capital District. He's experienced in marketing and maintaining property. There's no immediate changes planned to the property, except that there is some deferred maintenance in the nature of the parking lot and some roofing work that needs to be immediately taken care of. So you'll see those improvements, but that's not something that really requires planning board approval. Anything that does require planning board approval, such as new tenant occupancies or other material changes in the sites, will certainly be back to see you.
Okay. Alex, you want me to run down through the members if they have questions?
Yes, does everyone know how to unmute yourself if you have a question?
Yeah, Danny Judge, does this property, I don't have a map in front, does this include Mavis Tire or no?
No, it does not. Mavis Tire is an out parcel that's separate from the Colony Plaza. There is an easement allowing for access to Mavis Tire over the entryway that serves the common plaza.
Thank you.
I
John?
do not have any questions.
I do not have any questions.
Peter?
I'm good. Thank you.
Jim?
I'm good.
Mark?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the change of ownership for 1892 Central Avenue?
I will make a motion for, to approve the change of ownership for 1892 Central Avenue.
Do I have a second?
On the motion, is it, and Charlie, is it 1892 LLC 2 and 3? Are they the owners?
It's 1892 Central Avenue LLC, 1892 Central Avenue LLC 2, and 1892 Central Avenue LLC 3. They're all three owners, just like three partners.
Right.
And the managing partner is the LLC 2.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, John.
Do we have
So
a
I'll
second?
make a motion to,
Go ahead.
make a motion to approve 1892 Central Avenue for LLC 2.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm gonna second, but it's the three owners, not just,
LL2 is the managing owner.
Right, right.
okay,
Right.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Any
Yeah,
opposed?
Alex,
Dan
just,
Judge, yes.
Do by name, you want to? John Martin?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Kenny Hart?
yes,
Dan Judge?
Yes.
Jim Swiskowski?
Yes.
Mark Egan?
Yes.
And I will be yes, Alex.
Thank you.
so Alex, just make sure when you put it in the minutes that you mention all three names, because all three are the owners of the property.
Yeah, good
Got it.
point. Thanks, Vic.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Dumas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dumas, and we'll move on to 1526. Alex?
I'm glad I didn't take too much time.
Charlie, we spent the fifth
that
of
was
May
quick.
places.
Next,
He's connecting.
is he? Who's on
Mr.
next?
Bukhari, you have to connect to audio.
Oh, he's not on, I see.
You have to connect with audio.
I think he's on now.
Yes.
No,
Can you
maybe.
hear us, Mr. Bukhari?
Can't hear him.
Can you hear us? Can you call back into the meeting? I've never encountered this, so I apologize.
All right. Does he know that you can't hear, he can't hear us, we can't hear him?
You can send a chat to him,
Yep, I'm trying.
or you can, yeah, Alex too. Alex is a driver. I'll be quiet. I'm trying to.
Hi, this is Keith Kramer. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Kramer.
I don't know.
You're here on the behalf of Mr. Bugari, correct?
Yes. But I can't get my video on.
That's okay. Did you need to show us anything?
No, I'm just here to help him answer questions he might have.
All right, we're trying to help him connect.
Ask him if there's any way you can call Mr. Bukhari on the phone and say that he can't, he's on video, but he can't hear us, we can't hear him.
And who's here on behalf of Mr. Bakari?
This is Keith Kramer. I'm his architect.
Well, Keith, this is Victor Kepner. I'm the attorney for the board. Obviously, Mr. Bukhari cannot connect. Why don't you go ahead and start your presentation, okay?
Okay. All right, he was in the last couple of years with various plans. Is that him?
Mr. Bukhari?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry for this inconvenience.
Okay,
uh,
very good.
And I apologize, Chairman.
Okay, your architect is on with us.
Hi, Zagram.
Hi.
We just started. So I explained you've been in a couple times in the last couple years for this tenant space on the first floor. And now
Yes,
you're going to take it over yourself with the market. So
that's correct.
you can take it from there.
Okay, I'm proposing a small food catering business and a small meat market. We will be installing brand new equipment as much as possible. And it's a family-owned and family-run business. We have only one vehicle at the moment, and we are not going to be making any deliveries. Customer will come in or call in for carry-outs, meaning for the meat or for the catering business. And there would be no tables, no serving, period, at all. And we will keep the place neat and clean, and as always. And it is, Mr. Chairman, it's very hard nowadays to conduct any kind of business given what we are facing in regards to COVID-19. And I have tried my best in the past with the different individuals. Maybe they were not equipped to have business going. Sometimes they violated, a number of things as the previous tenant had. And I had asked them to leave the place, and for that matter, I have to take them to court. That was beyond my assumptions in the beginning of the lease terms. I'm requesting the board to please allow this business to move forward.
Okay, what I'd like to do is I have a few questions for you. And then I'd like to go
Sure.
down through the board again for anybody to have questions. I'm going to start off with a couple. And actually I'm going to direct this one to RJ. Has this project been approved before as a meat market?
I believe it has. I don't believe it had the catering aspect.
Mhm.
Can you hear me okay?
So, okay, now to the applicant, the other question I have, is there a change to the site? Are you going to have a cooler outside the building?
No, Mr. Chairman, no, everything will stay inside. We are not putting any cooler outside. There are two coolers, 6 by 6, facing against each other. And one will serve the catering side and the other will serve
They're
meat
interior.
market.
They're
Yes,
interior?
they are.
Okay.
Yes, Chairman.
All right, I'd like to run down through the board members. John Martin?
Yes, is there any floor plan change that you have proposed in this application that's different from the meat market approval we gave back a couple tenants previously?
I don't think so. Maybe because the first cooler we were installing outside cooler, but now it's inside. And that's the only change I see
Well, can
at this moment.
I think the main change is we're adding some food prep area with an exhaust hood.
That's
Will be
true.
on the back wall.
Yes.
That's really the only thing that will affect the outside of the building, because on the rear wall, we would have to run our duct up to the roof. I think that's
true.
shown on the revised site plan.
Yes.
So other than that, does that'll deal with the, what department is that you, Mike, that has to approve that ductwork and the inside, outside ventilation?
Yes, I need to see the plans for it though. But I don't think there's any issue, but I'd have to look at it from the code standpoint. I have not seen the plans for that.
Okay, that was my only question.
Okay, Peter?
I just had a couple of quick ones. Wasn't there a question about a fence in the back with a neighbor? Was that a result in the last proposal?
Is question for me?
Yes, to the applicant.
Yes.
Okay, to the applicant. Yes, it has been resolved. We are not putting any fence out there because she doesn't want the fence to go up.
Okay.
We will leave it as it is. This is how she wants it, and this is how she wrote with to Alex, and it was brought up to the board, I believe, via Alex.
Yeah, Peter, the last time we approved this, that was what was stated. The neighbor did not want that fence, so.
Okay. And the other question I had are these plans, are there other plans that are stamped and we just have an electronic version of them? Alex, do you know?
The only plans that I have are the ones that I provided to you, PDF, that have been printed out.
Okay, because I just didn't see them stamped on anything. Don't know if that makes any difference whatsoever, but that's all I had.
Thank you.
Kenny?
My copy, I show an existing basement plan, but I don't show a first floor plan. Did I miss a print or?
I'm the same. Do we have a floor plan submitted?
Yeah, they should have been in the same email.
All right, so maybe I didn't copy it right.
My email had 2 basement plans.
Correct, so did mine.
Yeah, mine too.
That's
Alex,
correct.
Alex, you have one?
I have 2 basement plans in the site plan, so we'll need a copy of the first floor plan.
And it will need to be stamped.
Correct.
Well, the overall site plan as well, correct? All right, so there's no eat-in. We're not gonna be able to dine in, Mr. Bukhari?
No, no, sir. There would be no dining and no tables or chairs.
Okay. The meat market, is there gonna be any butchering on site?
Yes. We will have the clean cut meat come in, and we will ground the chicken or beef or any other thing, and we wrap it and put it in the fridge. Or if somebody wants to come in and have a chicken, those are already butchered and clean, we have to cut them. We will do that. Or has let's say lamb. So we get the whole lamb, and they want to have the 3 or 5 or 20 pieces, whatever they want. We will do that on site.
Will there be any,
And
will there be any live animals brought in to be butchered?
no, sir. Absolutely not.
Okay. Is there gonna be, I guess I don't know because I don't have a first floor plan, but you said there's a prep something in the basement?
No, we are not prepping anything in the basement. The basement will be only used for storing, let's say, flour or rice or spices or those kind of things.
But
And
is there gonna be you said there's gonna be a cooler in the basement?
No, sir. Cooler are upstairs on the first floor, not in the basement.
So there's not gonna be any operation of your business in the basement other than storage?
Correct.
Any food storage?
Any fruit? No.
Food storage?
I mean, just the dry food, yes. Meaning flour, rice.
No, well, let me rephrase. No butchered food?
No, sir.
Okay.
No butcher food.
I'm good, Chris. Thank you.
Dan? Judge?
You list catering as part of the service you're providing. Is that catering all picked up? You say everything is being picked up, or are you going out to people's homes and setting up catering?
No, we will cook there and people will call in or come in person to pick up. We will prepare everything on premises. We are not going to anybody's home or businesses to set up or do the cooking or catering on their site, no.
Okay, all right. I'm just questioning, I don't remember on the plans, dumpster wise, do you have a dumpster back there?
No, sir. We don't have a dumpster. We're going to have a large bins ourselves, and it will be picked up by the waste management. At least 3. I stated in my letter about maybe 2 to 3 times a week. As if we need more, we can have service more often than 2 or 3 times.
Okay. That's all I got, Chris.
Okay. Jim?
No, you guys covered my questions. Thank you.
Okay, Mark?
Same thing, covered my questions, thank you.
All right, a few things on this, and I do, Mike, I'd like to get a comment from you. Do you have anything outstanding on the building? And also, the site plan had an additional tree that was to be planted. Has that ever been taken care of?
No, there has.
There's no outstanding violations there that I'm aware of at this point. There was violations there with the hookah shop that they have since moved out. So there are no outstanding code violations there that I'm aware of.
Okay. The applicant was speaking. Did you say the tree has not been installed on the site?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, yes. Because I was waiting for the village to instruct me where the tree will go. So also I'd like to mention there is a standing sign out there which the previous tenant has left. We will be using that as our new sign. We will just change the lettering inside and we'll stay there. Anybody, Mr. Sharon, can pinpoint where this tree needs to go, and we will put it up there.
All right, you'll need to take that before the sign review board, not the planning commission. So you'll have to apply for that.
Sure.
I
Thank
think
you.
the status that we stand on this project currently is we will need you to submit a first floor plan, which will show us the coolers, so forth on that first floor. The plan will have to be stamped by a professional. You
Yeah.
also will have to have the site plan stamped. And I guess the two site plans we have, your the site, our two basement floors, you can get those. They'll be stamped set, so.
Sure.
Chris, it's Victor. Can I mention one thing?
Yeah.
So in the past, with other applicants that I've had in other towns who had these kind of operations, the storage of the butchered product that does not get sold and goes into the trash cans has become an issue with odor. And looking at the site plan, it says new trash barrels on wheels outside on the back. I think the board should consider that when you're looking at this and acting on it, how to handle this situation if odor becomes an issue. I've seen this happen with other restaurants on multiple occasions where, you know, clients would have a situation like this and it became an issue with the neighbors. And the applicants indicated what never commented on, or there wasn't any conditions placed in the approval. So it's something the board should consider, especially with this kind of an operation. It's you know, likely that you're going to have storage of byproducts that's outside, and everyone knows what happens with stuff like this on hot summer days.
I can assure you once that it will not become an issue. If it becomes an issue, I will take care of it myself. Or if your inspector or anybody says something, I will abide by all the ordinances, all the direction that I will receive from your board, sir. I again assure you this would not be a problem. This is just simply a small catering kind of business. It's not going to be a huge restaurant. I understand, you know, your point of view, but as we move forward, and I will not disappoint the board one way or the other.
Chris, can I chime in on this?
Yes.
I don't see why, I mean, are you still gonna have the doors in the back of the building, Mr. Bakari, where the garbage cans can actually be stored inside?
Yes, we can, certainly we can have the bin inside. When it's time to roll out the bins, we can do it on the same day or the evening before that.
That would appear to be a very easy solution, Victor, to what you were bringing up.
Sure, we can do that.
I got a question, Chris.
Yep. Kenny?
All right, then off of RJ, so when you provide the stamped plans, you're gonna show those trash barrels stored inside your building, correct? Mr. Bakari?
Yes, sir, we can do that.
Okay. You can do that or you will do that?
No, I will do it.
All right, very
Or
good.
if you want-
Now, my other question is, how do you get those garbage cans up the grass onto, and you're gonna have to have a commercial trash collector. So are you under contract with a commercial person now, contractor?
I mean, I have accounts with waste management not for this location though.
Okay,
So I'm very familiar with them, and they are very familiar with with me.
because that's not, you're not covered underneath the village for waste removal for commercial.
No,
Okay.
no, sir.
So how do you get those garbage cans, those trash barrels up onto the street? Or because everything is grass, right? There's no pavement down there?
there's a little pavement on both sides. We can do is we can bring it up to the parking lot area around the corner. Then they're coming, let's say, suppose they are coming, they usually come in the morning. So let's say they are coming 6 o'clock on Monday. I can roll up those bins in the parking lot maybe the night before. This is how usually it works.
All right, well, speaking of those times, I think you're gonna need to conform to the village hours of trash collection. Because 6 o'clock in the morning is not, I don't believe falls into that realm.
I believe we're 7 to 7.
7 to 7? Okay.
10 PM
can
to
do
6 AM.
Say that again, Mike,
10 PM to 6 AM.
is what you cannot do?
Correct. After 6, before 10. That's what the code says. And also, I would make sure that any approval on this has all health department regulations and licensing, because a catering business and a meat processing business probably has to be licensed by the state of New York, like every other restaurant. So I would make sure that the approval is contingent on that.
I'm good, Chris, thank you.
Okay. Unless there's other comment, there still can be more comment. I think what needs to be done for this project, it will have to be resubmitted with these stamped plans that we've been asking for. I don't believe we can act on it tonight without having those in place. I would also
I had just sent an email over to Alex with the plans just now.
Okay. I would also suggest that that we have a narrative in the narrative as to how you were going to handle the waste product, so forth, the butchered meats and so forth. And as was requested, that the approval be based upon the health department.
Any grease traps required with this?
Can I just say one thing, Chris? Yeah, I'd say, depending on the type of cooking here, there might be, well, there probably will be some type of grease trap required, either an under sink or potentially, if it's large, depending on the magnitude of the cooking, an external grease trap. That is something that Les Decker, the DPW superintendent, will need to decide if he feels that the amount of cooking, particularly like, Mr. Picard, are you gonna have fryers?
Yes, Mr. RJ, we have fryer, and also I'm planning to install 40-gallon grease trap in the basement or outside of the basement if possible. Maybe inside will be much better. And it did not show in the drawings purposely, because this is done with the village and also with the health department. How big or small they want us to put a grease trap. That's why it's not there. And in my letter that was sent to Alex, I wrote a small paragraph indicating what we are going to do, but I will edit it and add that waste products will be stored in the basement until it's picked up the next day or the following 2 days.
And the plans will have to be submitted so that DPW can actually do a review on that as to the grease traps and what will be required.
Sure. I'm gonna request Alex to please send me email, or also, is Mr. Keith Kramer with us at the moment?
Yes.
Okay.
I will send you an email.
Sure.
Okay, does anybody have additional comments on this project?
Chris, this is Danny Judge. I don't believe that our planning commission has any authority or jurisdiction over social distancing and compliance. All right. Everything that is covered by either having shields or limiting people, that's all covered by health department regulations, right? I mean, there's nothing we're missing here in these new times, is there?
Victor, you want to comment?
Yeah, there, nothing that I'm aware of, and I don't think we have, it's not within our jurisdiction. It's all the state of New York that sets all this up, so we really can't, we don't have authority to do that.
That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, the way the status is, you'll be resubmitting this. Alex, you'll get an email off to them and to what will be required. And we look forward to seeing it back before us.
Sure, definitely. It will be coming, hopefully this week.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 1653 Central Avenue, Goldstein.
There's a bunch of them, so hang on.
Okay, no.
Hi.
Wait a minute. Okay, you're on now.
And your microphone's on.
Huh? Okay, let's
Oh, okay, could you let Alex know who's attending?
Most of you are muted, so
Bill Mafrici with Hirschberg and Hirschberg.
Dan Hirschberg, Hirschberg and Hirschberg. Bill, you want to start off?
Sure. Well, yeah, Alan Goldstein's here.
Anthony Maney is here.
This one also.
Fred Kosak here is here with BBL also.
Here, Doug, okay? Please sit so we're all the same. There we go.
There you go.
Is the volume
Okay.
Okay, so we had submitted, this is the second time after we finally resolved circulation and access for the fire department. We separated both the site plan for 1671 Central Avenue and the storage unit, 1653 Central Avenue, into two separate site plans. Both are conforming to zoning regulations with regards to green space, parking, setbacks. We had received a response letter, a review letter from LaBerge, and we're in the process of addressing all those comments technically with regards to the SWIP and grading and landscaping, lighting. We're in a position where this week, probably tomorrow or Thursday at the latest, we're going to resubmit a full set of plans, which includes two separate subdivision plans and the two lots, two separate site plans, excuse me, and the two lot subdivision plan. I guess what we're asking tonight maybe is for scheduling a public hearing if the commission finds these plans okay. We need a public hearing for the two lot subdivision. Unless I'm misunderstanding the process,
I think that's why we're on the schedule.
Okay, I'd like to back up just a little bit. Victor, I know you've had contact with counsel for the applicant today or yesterday, whatever. Would you like to update us on that?
I never talked with Mr. Maney. I know that Ron did,
Okay.
but I think you're referring to the May 1st, 2018 meeting, which is, believe it or not, over 2 years ago, when there was a request by Mr. Goldstein to allow overflow inventory only that are not sold on 1653 to be parked on this site. And what the board granted was authority on a limited basis to park cars only in the front. And it was for 18 months, which expired November 1st, 2019. So the sunset has come and gone. And my understanding from speaking to you, Mr. Chairman, and others, is that there are 100 plus or minus cars parked on this site right now. One of the things that was discussed during the request to park overflow Subaru cars on this lot was no parking on the first row of the parking spaces closest to Central Avenue. And just quoting, Mr. Goldstein stated that this is just a use, that the vehicles are parked nose in on the site. This way the cars are not on display and do not promote customers coming to look at them. Mr. Goldstein stated that he was looking into putting a sign up at 1652 telling customers to come across the street to look at their Subaru lot. So I advise the board that they could consider a temporary approval for the use, which generated this sunset. And then at the time, it was Randy Rivera asked if there was going to be storage on all sides of the building. Mr. Goldstein stated only in the front, and the sides is shown on the proposed site plan, no vehicles in the back. So we have to address that first. So I don't know who wants to
All right,
discuss that, because the board has to talk about this. The approval has lapsed, it's sunsetted.
Yep.
And we have to just go through this.
All right, and next I'd like RJ, if you did make contact, maybe you want to speak, and then we'll turn it over to Mr. Maney.
Yeah, well, Joe, I talked to Mr. Maney yesterday, just fill in conversation, with Gary and I had about this issue, just to make them aware of it. Because like many of us, I was aware of it. And to suggest that they wish to ask for extension on it. And this is just in terms of the agreement, not the number of cars that are being officially parked there today. That was not discussed.
Your phone, RJ, we can't hear you.
Yeah, Ron, we can't hear you.
All right.
There you go. That's better.
What
Sorry.
if I do it like that? Is that better?
Yeah.
It's better.
Okay. So anyway, I talked to Mr. Maney, indicated the agreement had elapsed, suggested that they might want to ask for an extension. We suggested, no more than 12 months or until a demo or building permit was issued for the project, whichever came first. And suggested that they speak to that tonight. And that's really about it.
Yeah, we concur with that. We would be looking for an extension in accordance with the outline that you just provided. We're hoping, of course, that it's a lot sooner, because if we get our approvals, we'll start our project. But yeah, that's accurate.
I think to the board, Alan Goldstein, with the virus, the cars aren't selling like they were at a regular pace. Plus, we have an opportunity to take extra cars that dealers turn down. So in retrospect, we've had that lot fairly empty. And hopefully this is just temporary with the quantity of cars. We do need the parking for 12 more months, Anthony, correct?
Yeah, well, until we start construction.
So I know they were talking about the direction the cars.
I can.
You know, we could change
I tried to
directions on
do it
cars.
so they were nice and neat and orderly, so that's why I have.
They'll wind up neatly. We can change what direction they point in. That's no problem. We don't do sales down there.
And our showrooms are closed, so there's nothing being sold.
Okay, on looking at extending the agreement that sunsetted, I'd like to go around, the board have comment, John?
I don't have any comments as long as, if we do an extension, they adhere to, some of the original requirements that we had in the approval that, has sunset.
Peter?
Which ones?
I have no issue with the parking going forward, and really no issue with this being temporary, knowing that we have it down in writing if we have to, and it becomes a problem, it can be enforced, but understand the issue that we're running into that was nobody expected anytime.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
All right, Kenny?
I don't have any issue with an extension.
Dan?
I have no issue with the temporary use while we're through this pandemic. That's all I have.
Jim?
I'm good with the extension.
And Mark? Did we lose Mark?
Muted.
You were muted, Mark, if you
All
could
right.
start over.
I have no issue with the extension.
Okay. Victor, would you outline what kind of a motion we should be looking at for this?
Yes. So the motion should reflect the minutes that the applicant is asking to extend the May 1st, 2018 authority that the Planning Commission granted to the Goldsteins to have overflow inventory only cars that are not being sold, inventoried from the Subaru lot on 1653 Central. And there should be a motion made by the board to extend the authorization that ended on November 1st, 2018, to extend it out for 1 year, or when the applicant receives his approval, its approval for their proposed construction of the storage facility, whichever is earlier.
All right, would that motion extend with the same terms in the agreement?
Absolutely.
Okay.
What date?
May I add something to that, Chris?
Yes.
I would just suggest that it be from the issuance of a demo permit or the building permit, because the site plan approval is not necessarily going to move it forward until all those permits are in place.
That's fine.
Yep. Okay. Now, I'm cognizant of the climate that we're in currently right now. I'd like to, if we extend this, someone make a motion on the terms that Victor has stated. And I guess I'll kind of include you on this one, Michael. I believe we understand the situation that they may be in currently with our virus. I think the village wants to have some agreement in place, and whether or not you're going to be that strict on enforcing the quantity on the number, I'll leave that out of the motion, I think. So is there anyone that would like to make a motion on the extending of the agreement on the terms set that Victor has stated?
I'll make a motion to extend the approval for overflow parking and no sales that was originally instituted May 5th, May 1st, 2018, and expired November 2018 for 1 year or until a demo or site plan approval has been provided for the this application.
Victor's
Are we
right.
doing it, are we doing a year from today or?
Yes, it would be a year, it would be a year from today. Okay.
That motion would really state from the demo beginning or the building permit, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'll second.
Okay, John,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
and yes, myself. Okay. All right, Bill, I'd like to get back now into the site plan for the building.
Okay.
Maybe we would run through is, RJ, would you want to bring us up to status that we feel the board that the village is on for the project?
Yeah, sure. So the project is actually 3 projects. We have 2 site plan approvals and 1 subdivision approval. As Bill indicated, we've gone through a couple iterations on layout, mainly due to fire access issues. Our initial comment letter was pretty well addressed. We had follow-up based on, I think it was April 1 submission that came in. There are a number of approvals still required other than the villages, DOT work permit, and coverage under the general permit for stormwater. We will need to set a hearing for the subdivision if the board considers the plan ready for that, or will be ready for that. And I think, though, back to, as John indicated, I think the commission has not seen the site plans yet, or at least had board discussion about them. So that's kind of where we stand. Chris is probably looking at those plans, getting any board comment. If it's not significant, it wouldn't really change the subdivision plan, but if it is significant, it could potentially change the subdivision plan. So I think it might make the most sense to start there and looking at the site plans and making sure the commission is satisfied with the layouts. And if so, you could set a hearing date for the subdivision.
Okay, your suggestion on when setting the hearing date is after receiving these plans?
I think that you could look at, I don't know that you need to receive the revised ones at this point. I think that our comments aren't going to change the layout issues. I think that would concern the planning board. They're more about easement locations and, minor radius widths for driveways. There is one issue, though, Bill, that you mentioned, is that we do have a zoning problem with proximity to the zoning boundary line. We don't meet the 25-foot setback requirement at the very back corner of the parking lot in the rear. So you'll need to adjust that a little bit to avoid the need for variance.
Yeah, we had the plans that we'll be submitting with the final SWIP tomorrow or Thursday reflects that. We relocated one of those parking spots that was encroaching towards where the dumpster enclosure is. So we haven't had a net loss of any parking.
Yeah. Okay. So Chris, I think that, again, if there's no significant issues that the planning commission has with the site plans, you I don't see a problem setting a public hearing date. Now, that's gone down the caveat too, that hearing only happens if we do have all the information submitted. It sounds like we're going to get it in a very timely manner here, so. But it's, as long as that is submitted and meets all the, let's call it conditions the planning board might ask for them to change this evening. Worst case is the hearing would have to be postponed if everything's not ready, but at least you have it set, so they can, assuming they get everything in, they can have a hearing.
All right, so just one question from me on this. I know there's myself and at least one other board member that would be requesting some landscaping changes, so forth. That can still be done on the site plan review level. Wouldn't have to be done at this subdivision public hearing, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Victor, would you like to weigh in on the issue of whether or not we're doing scheduling a hearing?
Yeah, we can schedule a hearing. I mean, Bill, you received Ron's letter of April 14th, right? With his comments?
Yes.
And you notice on page 2, it talks about the subdivision plans, A and B, specifically things you have to add on the plan. You know, the block, the small scale, the existing zoning, the existing utilities, all easements, existing and proposed.
Yep, we have 99% of RJ's comments addressed on the plans as of this afternoon, and that's why by tomorrow or Thursday at the latest, I'll be circulating 2 sets of site plans, one for each 1671 and 1653, and then one subdivision plan along with the response letter, so you can see exactly how we addressed RJ's.
That's fine. So long as you're on top of it and you're going to be able to get this to us meaning the board members and Ron, I'm okay with setting the meeting. I mean, for as soon as May 19th, if the board is so inclined. Ron, you can weigh in on that too if you want.
Yeah, May 19th is fine.
Alex, what kind of time frame do you are required to have for notification?
I will need time to let neighbors know when this does encroach on residential areas. So I would like at least 5 days notice for those individuals. So if this is in by the end of the week and you're happy with it, I asked for 5 days notice for the public hearing notices to be out.
Okay.
Well, there's a mandatory advertising time you have to do
Right.
with, right?
Is that it?
That is
10
correct.
That's probably 10 days or whatever that is. You're talking about the actual written notice to the neighbors?
That's correct. It needs to be in the paper at least 72 hours notice. The village like to give more notice to residents, and as this is a fairly large project, I asked that I get 5 days notice.
I'll make sure we have the plans, all 3 sets of plans in the response letter by the end of the day tomorrow.
Right. But the legal notice would have to go out, Victor, right? 10 days prior.
I believe so, yes. Is that correct, Alex, on a 10-day legal notice under our code? I don't have the code book in front of me. I don't know what it's.
I mean, we can
We
check into
follow
that.
the state rules, and the state rule says 72 hours.
Yeah, but
Past
we've
practice, the village practices 10 days. So
yeah, that's
to
the
make
way
it clear, 10 days.
Right. So nobody can say they didn't get the notice. That's fine. But it's
right.
just based on what Mr. Mafrisi's saying, it sounds like we're gonna have plenty of time because it's 2 weeks from today.
All right.
By end of
And
day
I'm not
tomorrow.
suggesting we wait till the documents are necessarily in to advertise for the hearing. You know, let's say they're just delayed till Monday for some reason, you know, we can still issue the notices or the legal notice anyway.
Sure.
I just need them in my hand in case people would like to review the application materials. They have that right to. And obviously they won't be able to attend the meeting, so they have, they need time to review the documents and submit any comments that they may have.
All right, I would like to run down again through the commission members to ask if you feel that we should set a public hearing for May 19th. This is just whether we should or we shouldn't do it, and then we'll look for a motion after that. John?
I have a couple questions first before we go down that path. This one's for Victor, is that how legal will we be asking for a public hearing but not allowing the public to actually attend the meeting?
We have that right, and Alex and I talked about it yesterday. We can conform to the public meetings law under the governor's new latest guidelines. Correct, Alex?
That is correct, which is why we are live streaming. The public needs to be notified. They need to be able to review application materials. They need to be able to comment, submit comments, and they need to be able to watch. So as long as all those items are covered, then that is
we're legal.
Following under Governor Cuomo's executive order.
So how are we planning on getting them copies of the plans and everything with the village hall being closed? If somebody wants them, do we send them these PDF files with all of these prints?
They can request it via email, or we can set up a time where I go to the office, they pick it up, or I drop it off.
Alex, can I make a suggestion? Can these not be posted on the village website?
They can also be posted on the village website.
That's the best way to do it, and then they're available, and you don't have to do anything other than point them to that.
Correct.
All right.
Okay, so I still have one more question that I don't know if it's too late down the process to broach this, but I was wondering, since we've gone around and around with other parties, but the commission hasn't really gotten the final plans after all of the circulations and things that have been going on. Is anybody concerned with the size of the building, and now it's being pulled up parallel with the surrounding buildings along Central Avenue, that it might be too large being that close to the Central Avenue? Just a thought that I wanted to put out there.
With that issue, if it was an item, would that not be under site plan review, RJ?
It is, but that could have a very distinct impact on how the property is subdivided.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If I can interject, the building was set back further and further from the first time that you saw the three-story structure. And the reason being is trying to conform to the 20% green space and balance that with the size of the lot. So we have, I don't have it in front of me and I don't recall, but we're set back, I think 50 feet from the property line, a little bit further back than the two adjoining buildings. Initially, we were right up to the two buildings, but now we're set back because we tried to avoid that variance, if that helps.
The building is set back 52 feet.
Which is back further than the two adjacent buildings, correct, RJ?
Well, that's a different question.
I have that on one of the sheets. I think the overall plan shows the adjacent buildings in dotted lines, but
that's what I'm looking for.
I don't have.
Yes, it's on 3 of 6 in one of these sheets that Alex had sent out, to one of the PDFs that Alex has sent out. It shows it parallel with the adjacent building.
So I just trying to point out that it is set back further, so the impact from that 3-story building is going to be less than what it was previously when the board saw the plan.
Okay, so let me ask this then. Is there any way you could have included in the package an architectural rendition of not only the building, but the adjacent structures so that you're looking at it from almost a 3D perspective to show how it's not really going to be overwhelming for the adjacent structures? You know, I think in today's day and age with the computer renditions, that should be something that you guys can do relatively easily, include it in the package.
Yeah, before we commit to it, we do have Matt with SRA. He's the architect waiting in the wings. So I think without committing him too much, I'm pretty sure he can produce that. Matt, is that correct?
Yes, we can produce it. I would not like to say it's as simple as it may have been perceived, but yeah, yes, it can be produced.
And I guess,
Okay,
Matt,
I think that would go a long way to answering my question.
From a practical
Getting back to the
standpoint,
original question, Chris, I don't have a problem with setting the public hearing.
all right. Peter?
well, I need to backtrack on that a little bit,
Yep.
if it's okay, Chris.
Yep.
If this building moves back, all right, let's say you look at that perspective, and this building moves back, it's going to change the subdivision plan because they need a certain amount of parking and everything else. So that would be considered a significant change, right? You're not going to move it back a couple of feet. From a practical standpoint, yeah, let me finish. You have a 1-story building in Kim's Asian Market next to a 3-story building. So you know it's going to be much, much taller. And it's obviously the footprint is much larger. I think the question the board has to look at is, does it meet the village? It meets the village code. I mean, it's the allowed size of building. And if by moving it back, 10 feet, does it really matter? I mean, before we go through the exercise of doing perspectives, I mean,
Well, I
I'm
guess I put it up-
board's discussion.
Yeah, I guess, does anybody else have that concern? If not, then I'll let it go.
It's 70 feet right from Central Ave. It's actually behind Kim's quite a bit. It looks like almost 20 some feet, and it's within the same as Fitzy's, as far back as Fitzy's of Albany or the dental orthopedics. So,
Right, that's a 2-story building, I think, right?
yeah, correct. So it is farther back than even Kim's. About you guesstimate about 20 some feet and 70 feet right off the curb line of Central Ave from the C3 depiction.
All right, Peter, I was gonna go to you next on the question on these.
Yeah, I'm good to go with that because I think that's going to be fine, but I'm good to go with the subdivision advertising and moving forward.
Kenny,
I'm good to go with moving forward.
Dan,
Will the public meeting notices include passwords and meeting ID numbers for access?
Dan, they will not be present on the Zoom call. That's under the governor's executive order. They can review these documents that'll be provided on our website, and they will email me comments. They have until that night at 6 p.m. to submit any comments that you would address at that meeting. They would watch live on the YouTube page and then submit comments afterwards if they have any.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that, Alex.
Alex, they're allowed to participate then?
Not while the meeting is going on. They're allowed to
Yep.
submit comment beforehand that I would
That we can review? Yep.
have for you to review. The public hearing, you have certain amount of days after you can keep the public hearing open for people to submit any comments, or if you close, I believe they still have a grievance period of when they can submit comments before a decision is made.
All right. I lost track where I am. Jim?
You're muted, Jim.
Overwhelming. First, what'd she say? I'm sorry.
You're
I missed-
unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the building's overwhelming regardless if you jack it around another 20 feet, 25 feet. It's going to definitely stand out. And at this stage of the game, I think it's a little late. And it meets the code, so I'd say let's just go with it at this point.
Okay, and you're okay with setting the public hearing in the
Setting the date,
19th?
yeah, yes.
Okay. All right, Mark?
All right. I'm good with setting the public hearing date.
Okay. All right, I guess at this point, I would ask anyone if they would make a motion to set the public hearing for what would be the address we're going to use for this? 1653, I believe. For May 19th. Do we need all addresses on that, RJ?
Yeah, I'm not sure what address this is. I mean, it's 1653 and 1671 Central Avenue, right? That
Add them
it
both.
covers.
Just to be covered,
Yeah.
let's hit both.
Put them both in the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, would somebody like to make a motion for the public hearing on May 19th for
Yes.
1653 and 1671 Central Avenue?
I'll make a motion for a public hearing for May 19th for 1653 Central Avenue and 1671 Central Avenue subdivision.
Second.
John,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes,
Mark,
Yes.
and yes. Okay.
Just as a comment, Chris, I'd still like to see in the package that rendition of the building with the adjacent structures.
Okay.
I got a question on that. For, who's that, Matt, the architect? How painstakingly does that take to do? And how much is it gonna cost Mr. Goldstein to do that?
He's not gonna like it.
But, all right, John, is it really that necessary for them to go through that hurdle? For,
Let me interject if I can, Ken. And again, I'm going to ask Matt, is this an issue that what you would actually do is take a photograph of this site? I think what we're really, John's thinking about is as we come up the avenue, if you took an angle shot of this site, looking past Kim's, whatever, and then you could drop in that photo the building that would be in back of it, but you'd see the height going through. How difficult again is it? And I'm wondering if that would help out for you, your presentation for the public hearing, so that people would actually be able to see what effect it might have. So I leave that in your court. What do you think, and Mr. Goldstein? So.
I mean, it's definitely possible. It's nothing that we can't do. We have done it for previous projects before in the past. If the board is suggesting that we do that in order to get approvals, I think that it's something that our team will discuss. And if it's going to help our application, it's something that we can do. If we don't need to do it and the board would like to give us approvals without it, then we won't.
All right. I would like you to have your discussions, but we could still move forward if on a motion here for the public hearing. Anyone?
I think
I already made the motion and passed it.
Motion's been made.
A second. Did I run through all the board members?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
yeah.
Well, excuse me.
Don't forget old.
Yeah, it is.
He's not old.
I would know.
All right. We are set with
Public hearing.
1653 Central Avenue, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good evening.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, for the members, do we, on our minutes, okay? I don't have anything of any substance that I feel needs to be changed on the minutes. I am going to suggest, and I'll be doing this myself, is when, John, you send out your revisions, correct, to everyone?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
And I sent them to Victor and RJ also.
I would suggest that we get our changes back to John. I know I'm one of the ones that usually waits for the meeting. I'll look at John's review. Let's get him into that, John, at that point, any changes. And hopefully we can do the same thing that I'd like to do tonight, is to have a motion to approve the minutes as revised, because John had revised them.
Chris, as a comment to that, usually what happens is in the past, Victor has sent his comments to Alex and she's put them right in. Then RJ sent his comments because I made a question to him about wording. He put it in and Alex sent them out with everybody's comments. So it might be a little easier if people have comments after they see mine, they just send them to Alex and then she can issue them just once instead of coming to me, then me sending them back to her and all that. It seems to have worked pretty well when Victor has made changes and RJ's made changes.
Yeah, I think that's where I was heading, John, so I agree with you.
Okay.
All right, so.
So are you looking for a motion?
Yes,
Chris,
please.
wait, before, Chris,
Yeah.
just one, the last meeting, they were asking for relief for money for their water main. And they were,
Yep.
we directed them to the board trustees. Did they, ask for Tom, did they ask for any assistance since our last meeting?
Not that I'm aware of. I didn't see anything.
I was just curious if they followed through on what they were asking us. That's all.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for Tuesday, April 7th, 2020.
Second,
All in favor?
yes.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay,
Can't do that.
approved. All right,
Chris, have you had a chance to look at the landscaping for Goldstein yet?
I have John and I have a lot of comments, pretty much a lot of them in line with you. That's why I
Okay.
kind of asked the questions about the site plans after we do a subdivision, because I think they need to make some major changes.
Well, do we want to package them up and send them to ahead of time or wait till after the subdivision?
I would like to get some comments off to them. So if the rest of the board is okay with it, I'm gonna kind of be in conversation with John to make some suggestions and see what they want to submit back to us.
I'm fine with that.
Chris, can I just ask that question back to Dan? The only thing I'm aware of was with Volvo saying they wanted something, not Goldstein.
Correct. That was Volvo.
I was referring to the minutes. In the minutes, they had something about the requesting for funds. That's what I was referring to.
It was Volvo.
It was Volvo, yeah.
Yeah, no, Volvo did not come in, no.
All right. Any new business, anything we need to know, Alex?
Nothing.
Okay, we have any submissions yet?
No, not for next week or for the 19th.
Okay, so we can figure out how we're gonna do a public hearing then.
But on that, are we setting the public hearing for 6:30? Or do you want to, can we move it up to 6 and we can have a regular meeting start at 6:30?
It might be the only thing on, that's the way it seems right now, right?
Unless Mr.
But
Bukhari
you're gonna
comes back.
Of course, the meat market might come back too.
Or he could have a whole new application by then.
Correct.
Right.
And you do have to set a time for the public hearing and you have to set a time for the regular meeting.
Let's set it at 6:30.
The
Sure.
public hearing for 6:30?
Yes.
So do we want to start our meeting at 6:15?
Well, typically I open the meeting, I close the meeting, and then I open the public hearing, so 6:30 and then 6:35, is that,
Yes.
so,
You just can't start sooner. You can only start it at 6:35 if you say 6:30.
Right, right.
Okay.
Chris.
Alex, you said something though that,
Chris,
Alex, you said something about keeping the hearing open. If the board's, that, I never heard of this. Is this mandatory? Because a lot of times we just close the hearing at the end of the,
Victor, you can speak to
meeting.
that, right? There's no, they don't need to close the public hearing, correct?
You
they do
know,
not need to, but they can.
that, right, that's
Correct.
exactly, let's do it like, listen. Way I'm looking at this, we have to see if there's any public comment, and Alex, you and I'll know, and then what I'll have to do is study up on the governor's latest edicts and see where we are with that. Can we legally, under his latest guidelines, say we can't close a public hearing because we have to wait for comment to be made in writing or what? But I'll have to look at that. I can't answer that right this second.
It may change between now and then anyways.
You're right. I mean, it changes almost by the week, so.
Chris,
Did that answer
Danny
your
Judge,
question?
I'm wondering if we could make some type of adjustment to our agenda as far as just to be better and more efficient to our people out there. What if we add approximate times to the agenda of when they're scheduled? And by that, I mean, like Goldstein, right? We put them in the agenda and they're sitting looking at a TV screen, and I know they do it in person, but we don't get them on until 7:15. What if we took and tried to improve, well, I'm just suggesting, just improve them. When you look at the screen for agenda, have an approximate time next to their, when they're slotted to be brought into the room. I think it would be
Hey,
pretty
Dan,
tough to sit down and sit for 45 minutes looking at a screen when we can be more efficient. I just want to throw that out there and get some comments.
Dan, I think
Chris, can I
that's gonna be
address
tough
that
to
one?
do.
Go ahead, RJ.
As someone who has attended lots of meetings, when you schedule a time and for somebody, and let's say the application before got canceled, postponed,
It never
and
works.
now you're just sitting there with nothing to do. You know,
It never works.
or it goes long.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not.
In an ideal world, it would be great.
Right, but it never works that way, Dan.
Okay, yeah, just a suggestion for improvement.
Yeah, the only problem I have, Dan, if we tried to do it is, we always think a little meat market's gonna take 5 minutes and it could take 45. So
All right, yeah,
I appreciate it, but I don't know if we can do it.
Dan, the town of Colony does it all the time, and virtually 100% of the time, 100% of the time, it's off by anywhere from an hour to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not, it doesn't work.
All right, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate everybody doing this online again. Okay, I think we're gonna close, right?
I think we should close, but I think we should always vote on who's the best looking presenter in terms of our group. Ron, forget about it. You're
I
out.
think I'm pretty good looking tonight.
I gotta tell you, I think that John Martin looks the best. He really-
There you go.
I'm in for that.
Vote for Alex.
All right,
Alex, you look pretty good, Alex. I like it.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Thank
second.
you.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
No one's opposed.
All right.
All right.
Have a good night, everybody.